Hello, everyone. This is WB Rooks. I decided I'm going to try and possibly come up with disagreements on Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've been wanting to try and talk about this game for quite a while since it came out almost 2 years ago. I never really was able. I just started a YouTube channel. However, uh, thinking what Razorfist has to say about this game around when it came out. Now I am wanting to try and see his thoughts and see if I have disagreements.
At the game show convention, they showed off a tech demo of Final Fantasy VII, the entire intro of it. And then at the end, after everybody's fucking going ballistic, and just like, oh my god, they're fucking remaking it, yeah! Then they said they were not. If there's ever been something that pissed me off in the world of fucking video games, it was that one thing.
Really sorry about your ass.
Okay.
Across the desert on the burning darkness quenching illuminates you. As you drive into the darkness, in front of you to behind you history. I witness a
Final Fantasy VII, Babby's first RPG for an entire generation of millennial hockey fiends. What began as Final Fantasy's first experiment in 3D spent the 90s and aughts soaking up more incel spunk than all the Tifa body pillows at KawaiiCon 2020. And there's one immortal rule of gaming where the hype train is, the cash-in caboose can never be far behind. And Final Fantasy cashed in like a Kardashian sex tape. Spin-offs, weed merch, ads for awful cell phones, and oh, those odious fucking films, many of which.
I would actually go so far as to say that Final Fantasy VII Advent Children wasn't really that bad. I don't know why people fucking hate on it.
And that's
Just because one, which is Final Fantasy 13, was linear doesn't make it entirely bad. It doesn't make it just completely into just its own movie. However, I will say that there were flaws within Final Fantasy 13, and it was, in my honest opinion, a lot of the lore, which was really interesting, mind you. I actually really did like the idea of being this runaway, evading capture from this military force, while also having to serve as for these weird gods that are incredibly techno-gnostic and yet eldritch at the same time. I like 13. 13, too, was trying to remedy all the problems that 13 had with its linearity. And then it went completely in the opposite direction with Lightning Returns.
since Seven's latest fits like a latex glove. If traversing hallways narrow enough to double as a CNN anchor's worldview, pausing periodically to somnambulate through prefab fucking cutscenes was dated when Final Fantasy 13.
Linearity isn't necessarily dated. There are modern games like Final Fantasy VII. Persona 5 is fairly linear, and yet that game is reasonably extremely successful.
Did it in 2010. A goddamn decade later, it's fucking Paleolithic. Not that you can tell.
It's really not. Not every game needs to be completely open world.
Reviews online. Sure, you get the mixed bag, lip service, and obligatory 8 out of 10s in some quarters, but mostly it's a wall-to-wall wankathon. And as someone who had the opportunity to obtain a review copy and didn't, it ain't a mystery to me why the Squeenix Goys choir is singing the game's praises while actual gamers are divided on its evident faults. Perusing the requirements for acquiring a review copy reads like a fucking Freemason fealty oath. Quote, at the start of each video or stream.
like to give you something for free. This might be a free game, free travel, free meals, etc. If you accept these free items, it will be your responsibility to clearly and conspicuously disclose that you received something of value from Square Enix when you discuss or display Square Enix products or services. At a minimum, you must comply with the following guidelines. At the start of each video and stream, and approximately every 20 minutes thereafter, you must prominently state or display in the video stream that this is an ad by Square Enix. You must also include ad at the beginning of the title of the video stream and prominently display ad by Square Enix in the description of the video stream description. You must prominently... Isn't this a good thing in the sense of it allows transparency? It's not saying that you have to give the game a high score and all that.
So, approximately every 20 minutes thereafter, you must prominently state and or display in the video or stream, this is an ad by Square Enix. You must also include hashtag ad at the beginning of the title of the video or stream and prominently display hashtag ad by Square Enix in the description of the video or stream. You must prominently display the hashtag ad or hashtag advertisement in each social media post. End fucking quote! If Deus Ex Mankind Divided, a legitimately superb cyberpunk RPG, was excoriated over doofy-ass DLC and the many other sins of Squeenix, wherein 15 fucks is the equivalent outrage of Square's condition for receiving a review copy is to tag your YouTube review as a literal fucking ad. This is some Kojima review boot camp bullshit, and no one seems to give a fifth of a fuck because Buster Swords and animal waifus are infinitely more important than honesty. You bitches were
How does this erase any sense of honesty? You could still hate on the fucking game, even if it's supposedly an ad. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't see how you can not be honest with this. Well, how you can't be honest with it. You can be dishonest, don't get me wrong, but the idea that this replaces any sense of honesty is rather laughable to me.
LEA can use Bethesda refused to work with the cucks at Kotaku, but Square can require reviewers to swear a blood oath to fillet their fucking game before receiving
Like I said, just because you get a review copy and making the review has to be an ad doesn't mean that you're going to be dishonest and say, if you hate the game, you hate the game. So, Razor, I do kind of feel like you're being a bit disingenuous here.
Review copies, making every positive YouTube review you have ever seen effectively a glorified fucking advertisement in the process, and you're too busy tearing your Naruto headband in twain over Tifa's tit size to give a fraction of a fucking shit?
Well, you could try being a little nicer.
That is one thing I absolutely can't fucking stand about a lot of the whole anti-SJWs whenever they were mad about Tifa's titty size. Here's the thing. Having large tits tends to hurt someone's back. And seeing as athletic as Tifa is, it makes sense to kind of reduce her size a bit.
To get free shit? Not my style.
Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe.
And yes, you heard right. The face that launched 1,000 loads, Tifa Lockhart, hopped on the Angelina breast reduction bandwagon. If Eris is the unattainable flower-picking princess, Tifa was the girl next door. To the porn set.
Babe, it's 4 p.m. Time for your dick flattening.
And speaking of which, what is up with Eris anyways? It's not merely the Twitch streamer caliber casting and Twitch streamer caliber performance, it's also the tone. Bitch went from a frumpy but feminine mage in its skirt, an ethereal earth child with an unreachable somber side, to digital diabetes.
Ah, he lives. Finally awake, are we? Say what?
Isn't that how she always was?
Yes, the two of us are a team. Just...
Maybe you shouldn't talk.
Okay, now we're back.
For the remake's reimagining of Eris?
Aaron. It's Aaron.
Yes, Eris, you anime autist. Fuck your fucking Eris. The designers slathered it in sky. which would be tolerable, at least to the same homophilic fucknobs who heaped obscenities on my skull for pointing out the piss-poor pacing and thimble-deep role-playing of the original, only to fire piping-hot arcs of frothing fan splooge at the screen over a remake that attempts to address all of the above. What even these aspies may find hard to endure is having a flower power feminist pussy rattling about how I are strong women's and I can combat too in a conversation about a fucking Mako meltdown.
But I won't let anyone else fight my battles for me. That includes you, mister.
Easy.
Well, in a sense, it is. Isn't Aerith typically like a feminine icon due to the fact that, yes, she does have a great battle ahead of her, you know, and she practically, with the remake, she knows that she's going to die, and yet she's choosing to go with the plan anyway.
Easy now.
You worry too much. I'm not some princess who needs to be coddled. Shit.
Hey, Blossom, you want to butt fuck off with a bra burning for a beat? I'm in a goddamn gladiator arena and I just got my ass kicked by a condo on rocket skates. And speaking of rockets, can we devote 2.5 fucking seconds of thought into the technology level of the game here? The original Midgar had a Gotham City vibe going on with the classic cars, three-piece suits, and omnipresent melee weaponry. In the remake, you'll find yourself ambling past a frickin' problem glasses, pedal pushers, and a side shave, selling rotary telephones and telegraphs while one of the Turks makes booty calls on his smartphone in the fucking distance. Yes, assholes. Midgar done had an iPhone upgrade in the past 20 years, and I'm sure in another 20...
Well, considering that, one, it is a reimagining, and two, it is a fantasy, so they can practically do what they want with the whole time, with the whole idea of technology. We don't necessarily know how technological this, the game setting really was. So, I kind of see this as bullshit.
20, that object's inclusion won't seem dated in the fucking slightest. The entire point of remaking FF7 was to future-proof the fucking thing, and your grand strategy entails an engine from 2002, bolted to a battle system from 2010, cohabitating with characters from fucking Portlandia? I mean, what...
An engine from... The Unreal 4 engine is actually fairly new. Well, now it's Unreal 5, but the Unreal 4 engine was practically for the PS4. It was for the generation consoles.
Is this game? It's not role-playing because it offers progression so illusory. Not only are you incapable of choosing or even customizing your party members, when someone rejoins...
This is one problem that I have with your idea. Role-playing has different meanings. You're taking the idea of, like, tabletop role-playing. Yes, a lot of it is customization. But Japanese role-playing games, especially in terms of video games, have a completely different design philosophy. They are more specifically focused on a story. They are not merely focused on the gameplay and and being able to control every single aspect of the game. If you want something like that, I don't know, go fucking play Minecraft or some shit.
Joins you after a lengthy sabbatical, they're auto-leveled to whatever the merry fuck you happen to be. I mean, am I even playing the game at that point? Because it fucking feels more like outside of materia and munitions, maybe. The game is leading me by the nose through a narrative I watch as much as fucking play. It's not so much that Squeenix want to let you play Final Fantasy VII again, so much as they want to show you a shitty movie about it. And all the padding they took out of Tifa's tank top, they put into the plot. As soon as it was revealed Squeenix would be labeling out the anime ads and nickel and dime behind the nominations. I predicted more filler than a fucking Netflix drama. But between all the new characters, like the weaponized cringe that is Roche, to entire chapters conjured from wafer-thin air, establishing little apart from Cloud's and emo asshat, and Jesse wants to tickle her tonsils with his Buster Sword, not since the 11,000th orc fight in the fucking Hobbit has a plot been spread so subatomically thin. Say it loud, say it proud.
I'm gay.
There is no Japanese word for pacing. Look, I'm not saying the action elements, uninteractive anime eye candy included, aren't amenable to the Final Fantasy formula. But are you seriously saying some of that time spent opening doors, flipping switches, and watching characters cry couldn't have been instead invested into actual RPG elements and been a drastic improvement in the process? I ain't asking for D&D here. That ain't been Final Fantasy since at least the first fucking game. But here's a kooky concept. Character stats! Why, you ask? Well, unless Barrett's hand cannon took kung fu lessons, I shouldn't be able to up my agility and defense with a fucking weapon upgrade. And if you ain't updating the gameplay, I suppose that leaves us with upgraded visuals that oscillate from jaw-dropping eye sex to bifocal dropping dog shit. The characters are straight out of Advent Children with all the cornball emo acting to match, but there's something ever so off about entering an apartment where every crack in the concrete is lovingly rendered in unparalleled photorealism, only to depart through a door blurrier than Japanese porn pussy. Who knew the only holdover from the original PlayStation would be the textures?
Don't you ever forget this view.
This chick put the ugh in ugly.
One of the theoretical reasons for remaking an ostensible classic like FF7 is not merely to take a belt sander to the jaggies, smooth out the swordplay, and update the goddamn graphics. It's to show how far we've come since the 7th entry's reliance on linearity and flagrantly fucking uninteractive anime melodrama. Instead, from invisible walls to slide rule linear level design, all we've established is that JRPG design philosophy is fucking flash frozen. Of all...
How is it? Like I said, you forget the fact that JRPGs have come across a completely different design philosophy from Western RPGs. Western RPGs typically focus on exploration and customization. If we're talking about JRPGs, that's not the case. It is the story that tends to be the most important part of a JRPG. And it's the characters going on a journey. So I don't really see your fucking point in which trying to say that you know, they have not innovated. In that sense, the fact that they still try and go for the story aspect first, yeah, you can say that that's not really innovative, but in Final Fantasy in particular, they have innovated a lot. They have innovated in almost every way to try and turn the ATB system into more of an action-based system. And Final Fantasy VII is the culmination of that innovation.
All the imbecilic bullshit to carry over from more recent, roundly despised Final Fantasy titles. You copy the Crystarium system from Final Fantasy fucking 13? Way to miss the point by 500 fucking light years, Captain Kirk. FF7 dropped in 98, an era of RPGs awash in galling gimmickry. Some work, like the Dragon Fusions in Breath of Fire 3, others ate the yellow snow, sank valuable resources into increasingly convoluted leveling mechanics, and crapped the bed at the speed of fucking franchise rate. If Final Fantasy VII, as so many Ramone-swilling speds seem to suggest, was refreshing at the time, it was precisely because of how it simplified that process. No junctioning GS, drawing magic, awkwardly circumnavigating a sphere grid like Joe Biden looking for an address. Buy materia, equip materia, cast fucking materia. End of! Haplessly spot welding a clunky Crystarium grid out of your goddamn Buster Sword upends the entire point of remaking Final...
Well, here's the thing. There are also people who do level 1 playthroughs and shit, who try and do no spear grid challenge or no Crystarium challenge. This actually gives you that option flat out.
Final Fantasy fucking 7! Square have devoted 22 uninterrupted years to inventing unneeded, unwanted leveling mechanics as backward and needlessly complex enough to incite Oppenheimer to invent the latest fucking skull. And the first chance we get to vacation elsewhere, you bring him along as fucking carry-on? Fuck even the slapdash swordplay with its real-time, half-assed hack and slashery and computerized companions with the preservation instincts of a manic depressive lemming with terminal taint cancer is little more than lightning returns with less tit armor. For the full fucking mastectomy, turn your gaze to the bait-and-switch symphony, laughably known as Classic Mode. Funny, I don't recall the classic combat in FF7 stroking the top 5 layers of skin off his schwanz while I stare impassively at the screen and feel myself fucking age. No commands, no menus, no turn-based fucking anything. Press button, select your party's overall combat approach, and kick back in your Barker Lounger and brace for the sweet release of death. Or better yet, don't! Because in the absence of combat commands, FF7 Remake will literally play it fucking itself. No snarky asshole with a controller required. After the game beating
No, it still gives you the ability to use commands.
Member of the dev team sounds just the faintest bit fucking familiar. I will depart the room for a moment and leave you to ponder precisely where they got it from. Beginning. Now, Final Fantasy 13! Fucking 13! Yes, that Final Fantasy 13. Now universally regarded as the worst Final Fantasy in a decade or goddamn more. And make no mistake, from hallways that make Hank Hill's urethra look like Daggerfall, punctuated by pointless cutscenes, to an aggressively uninteractive classic mode with palms hairier than George the Animal Steel. Tell me Squeenix didn't slap Cloud's effeminate face on fucking lightning, bolted Barrett's mug on Zod. And sold us the same shitty game twice. But never mind classic mode, because even on normal and fucking hard, at best, it's the most mediocre hack and slash you've ever pressed X to endure. With oversights a second-year design class would cringe at. Like this shit where the boss stops taking damage entirely because the game designers want to show me a shitty movie in the middle of a fight is cute as lace pants. Unleashed a limit break that would otherwise have ended the match? Tough shit if you only had 20 HP to go before you hit the god-awful anime cutscene threshold, and 20 HP of damage is precisely what it's gonna do! I'd say it's bad RPG design, but that's pretty fucking awful even by action game standards. Remember, kids, perfect 10 on GameSpot.com, or still, Square call attention to flaws such as the often asphyxiating linearity by having characters crap out some silly shit about being careful or we'll all get lost on a map with fewer branches than an Appalachian family tree.
Let's regroup here if we get lost. We can't.
For a second I thought he was going to try and say that Barrett is just a rehash of Saz. No, that's not the case. I could have sworn that he did say that at one point. Here's the thing. Barrett came first. Barrett came out back in 1997. Saz came out in 2010.
I get the occasional bottleneck. You can focus the player, allow for additional dialogue or character moments, but Tifa will literally be bitching about needing a compass on a stage with all the two titty fucking paths. And here I thought it was only Valve that couldn't count to 3.
You make me sad.
Yet the game is somehow even worse when it actually opens up, largely owing to the insipid side quests, virtually all of which emerge in inopportune moments exclusively. I can scarcely convey how it cultivates the Skyrim history-altering urgency of, say, an imminent terrorist attack, or one of my teammates requiring rescue from a Shinra rape dungeon to pause and collect 12 of 15 fucking chocobo turds first, an alarming amount of which is compulsory in order to progress to the next puerile plot point. How incommensurate are these innocuous activities within the otherwise epic scope of a fucking fantasy RPG, you inquire? At one point I had to traverse an underground murder fortress to have a fist fight with the fucking devil, because some limberdick doctor douche had to make a medicine out of his horn. I repeat, I went to cyber hell and kicked the shit out of Satan because my doctor said my Lanta. Insipid ain't selling how profoundly fucking stupid these side quests can be. Even the open world descriptor is in fact generous to a fucking fault. What was sold as a cyberpunk sandbox is little more than a series of interlocking linear corridors teeming with with rolling fountains of fuck all. And really, that's the FF7 Remake in a nutshot. You can do anything at all to explore and interact with the world of Midgar, provided you do it exactly how Squeenix prescribes. Hell, even the act of traversing it all ends in invisible walls and warning messages. In one scene, your character will soar over chest-high obstacles or play river dance with a bridge of bio-containers to cross a cavernous expanse, only for Cloud to crap his parachute pants at the prospect of doing the same over 7 centimeters of strategically placed rubble because a contextual control prompt failed to extend the invite. You want to say it's lazy, but it isn't. It's just Japanese. And from Nomura to Itagaki to Kojima, Japanese gaming, let alone role-playing, ain't about the player, it's about the pricks that program this shit show. Like the shittiest DM you've ever endured in the most dull D&D session of your BO-suffused adolescence.
I want to play the Warlock.
Every detour redirects back to some hack's ham-fisted narrative. One forced...
That's the thing. You're not taking into account that they have completely different design philosophies. Not even just that, but also completely different cultural philosophies as well.
Fail state at a fucking time. And all that kick-ass Cloud shit for the fucking trailers, that comes in cutscenes. Square may not have kept the core design from 1998, but they sure as shit kept the condescension. The idea of alternate histories subsumed by diaphanous hordes of plot device penises is in that sense the embodiment of the Japanese design ethos. Barring past, correcting creative impulses, and ever eager to feed you the fucking shaft. In our sophomore video in June of 2009, elegantly entitled Final Fantasy VII equals balls, I argued one of the principal flaws of FF7 is that it sells you the story, then breaks it up with boring-ass bitch work and shallow combat sequences often devoid of stakes before petering out on the final fucking disc. And to their credit, Square Enix appeared singularly set on at least attempting to address exactly that. Sure, they've upped the action and even opened up the map in places, but Nomura knows exactly what he's shilling here. Familiar faces, setting, and story. Fucking fit. And if my only abiding criteria for grading a game is does it attain what it strives for, and unctuous acting, classic mode, and fugly texture compression aside, the FF7 Remake achieves precisely that. And then the ending happens, wherein every word of the preceding plot is pitched out the window in favor of fan service squared. A sequence so stacked to the rafters with filler even after watching the credits roll, I'm not entirely persuaded I'm not still fucking playing it. Final Fantasy VII Director's Deluxe Final Silver EX Plus Alpha Version Edition is a fucking shit piece. And worst of all, this first part of 3 represents roughly the first disc, which contained most of the shit people remember and universally love from the original game. Meaning strap in and sack up, because somehow, some way, it only gets cringier from here. I'm Razorfist. God fucking speed.
We don't even know how many pieces that Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to do. Yeah, you can try and say 3 because of how many discs were in the original. That doesn't mean that they're going to just go by 3. And if your complaint is going to be about how linear it is, then honestly, right after this is where Final Fantasy VII really actually really opens up. Like, that is... I don't fucking get it. Maybe it's just me, but I disagree with you vehemently with the idea that the series has, that an entire fucking subgenre, not just genre in itself, has stagnated. And yes, we can criticize the idea of not having a lot of options in terms of character customization. But even then, the game seems to me pretty damn good. The combat is really an evolution from more static turn-based gameplay to more action-based gameplay. The reason why they did the classic mode was because of the factor, not everyone is used to the action and real-time mechanics. I kind of being one of them. And I do think that the combat system of Final Fantasy VII Remake is actually a really good combat system. I would like to see more Final Fantasy games kind of take this approach and utilize Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat. I would like that. But, I can respectfully disagree with him. So, that's this. I'm guessing this is my reaction to Razorfist. I guess I'll see you guys later.